We have been reminded again of the volatile security situation in the occupied Palestinian territory as yet another deadly escalation between Israel and Palestinian armed factions in Gaza took place. While the ceasefire is holding, conflict mitigation efforts must also be met with steps by both sides, supported by the international community, to reset the trajectory out of the cycle of violence. I call on all parties to stop unilateral and inflammatory actions that undermine prospects for peace and to address the acute financial and institutional challenges faced by the Palestinian Authority. I am particularly alarmed by the funding crisis facing UN agencies supporting basic services and social support, including emergency food assistance to Palestinians. Without new funding, the World Food Programme will suspend cash assistance to some 200,000 Palestinians next week, and UNRWA will not have the resources to deliver core services in September. This comes alongside existing financial challenges faced by the PA and declining donor support overall. I encourage member states to immediately seek ways to increase their support to Palestinians, including funding to UNRWA and WFP, without which we will face serious humanitarian and potentially security challenges. There is no time to spare. Madam President, tension increased between Israel and Palestinian armed factions in Gaza Strip on the 2nd of May, when a Palestinian Islamic Jihad leader, Khader Adnan, died in an Israeli jail following an 86-day hunger strike. In response, PIJ and other armed factions in Gaza fired over 100 rockets towards Israel, causing damage but no injuries. The Israeli Air Forces responded with air attacks against what they said were Hamas PIJ targets in the Strip, killing one Palestinian and causing damage. Following intensive efforts by Egypt, Qatar, and the UN, hostilities ended on 3 May. 1 week later, in the early hours of 9 May, the Israeli Air Forces carried out airstrikes in Gaza that killed 3 senior members of the PIJ's military wing in their homes. Israeli officials said the 3 were responsible for firing the rockets on the 2nd of May. The strikes against residential structures also killed 10 civilians, family members and neighbors, including women and children. Over 5 days, Israel conducted 323 airstrikes against what is said were PIJ military targets in Gaza, while Palestinian militants, mainly PIJ Al-Quds brigades, launched over 1,200 rockets and more than 250 mortars towards Israel, of which nearly 300 fell short within Gaza, and more than 400 were intercepted by Israeli air defense systems. 33 Palestinians, including at least 12 civilians, 4 women and 6 children, were killed during the hostilities. Of those, 1 Palestinian worker was killed in Israel by rocket fire from Gaza, and the UN is verifying reports that at least 3 fatalities were due to rockets falling short within the Strip. According to the Ministry of Health in Gaza, 190 Palestinians were injured, including at least 38 women and 64 children. 1 Israeli civilian woman was killed by rocket fire. According to Israeli authorities, 6 Israelis were moderately injured and 89 lightly injured. The escalation compounded the already dire humanitarian situation in the Strip. According to the authorities in Gaza, nearly 100 housing units were completely destroyed and more than 125 were damaged and rendered uninhabitable, displacing more than 1,100 Palestinians. Israeli authorities closed both crossings between Gaza and Israel, preventing the entry of food, medical supplies, and fuel for the Gaza power plant. As a result, hundreds of patients were unable to access essential medical care in the West Bank or in Israel. Throughout, the UN engaged intensively with all parties alongside effort by Egypt, together with regional and international partners, including Qatar, to end the hostilities and prevent further loss of life. I commend Egypt for its role in bringing the parties